Hello and welcome to the Wandervan's Webasto install. Today we're going to take you through the installation of a Webasto heater in a Ford Transit camper van. As you can see from the video, we're adding in the intake and the exhaust ports onto the Webasto ahead of time. We've also mounted the mount. Right here we're showing the fuel line adapter that will clip onto the Ford Transit fuel tank, and then the included fuel line. It is key to make sure that you push everything in to ensure that you have no air bubbles. Now this is the fuel uptake on the actual heater. There's multiple adapters included. You want to make sure that you have a clamp at the base of the fuel line to ensure that you have no air bubbles. As you can see, here we go. We're putting on the clamp. And then you tighten up the clamp. And then your next step is to insert the fuel line included with the kit in, and again, ensure that you clamp it down tightly to ensure that there's no air bubbles. This is very, very key. This is us drilling a hole to install the Webasto heater. We install our Webasto heaters towards the back of the Ford Transit. This is a 5-inch hole saw. Then you're going to feed through all your lines. You notice everything is prepped ahead of time. And then this is the connection to the fuel tank. And you see all the... Now we're ready to lower the fuel tank on the Ford Transit. For the Ford Transit, you need to lower the fuel tank using we use an ATV jack. You're going to unscrew all the bolts that secure the fuel tank. We recommend an electric. Then on any diesels, you're going to need to clip the nipple that sticks up. It's just a tiny little plastic thing. You just want to clip the very top of the nipple, as you can see in the picture. Just the very top. Don't want to clip very much more. Since this is a diesel, there is a fuel up tank. You insert that first. And then you're going to go and you're going to grab the fuel line that you have all prepped. And you're going to clip that onto that nipple, and you'll wait for the click. May take a little bit of shimmying around, but you should be able to find it. So the key is to make sure that you hear that click and then it doesn't pop back off. Otherwise you'll get lots of air in your fuel system, not only in your main fuel tank but for your heater. Once you've completed that step, then you're going to go back and you're going to raise back up the fuel tank back into position. You're going to want to insert the heater. Notice how we feed through all the hoses. We've also used a fire block around the floor just to provide an extra seal to keep any water or debris from getting inside the van. So we get it all situated and then we will mount it up. Now this is the actual fuel pump. This is the diesel fuel pump, so it has a fuel filter on it. If this was a gas, there wouldn't be that little fuel filter on the end. Again, make sure that you're going to use all the adapters included. There's going to be lots of clamps, and so you can see this is the direction that the fuel travels. Then you're going to mount it up underneath, close to the fuel tank and in between the fuel tank and the heater. Again, the clamp to mount this comes with the kit. Again, you're going to feed your connections through. You're going to trim up your fuel lines. Also, there's going to be an electrical wire that's going to feed back to the main heater. That fuel line right there and the electrical connections, you're going to wire that electrical connection into the heater. Now to note, the polarity is not marked on the electrical connections. So just keep that in mind. You may get an error code and you may need to swap these lines afterwards. So keep that in mind. So again, and it's also key to kind of tidy up your work, but I wouldn't make any final connections on the fuel line until you make sure that you have the heater firing. Now you're going to want to secure your exhaust. You want to make sure that your exhaust goes out from underneath the van. That is super key. And then your fuel intake, you screw on in the kit. There's a little air intake. You're going to screw on that air intake. Make sure to use the appropriate clamp. And then you're going to use a drill to drill a hole for the mounting bracket. And then the mounting bracket, it just pushes into the hole. This again is included with the kit. Just clips on. Now we've run the wires to the front near the battery. We've hooked the system up to power, and now we're going to test the system. You could get a number of different error codes, and so it's kind of key to look up what the errors are and then go through the system. Thanks again. If you are intimidated by this heater install, feel free to reach out to us. We are available for heater installs in Boise and Salt Lake City. Thanks again.